So in theory, everything's good and golden and working, but we're not going to believe that just yet, because if you have part of this stuff working but not all of it, it'll seem that it's working, and then we'll get unexpected results later on, and we'll have wasted our time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to incrementally take down each link to prove that the other links are working. So we had just looked at seeing which route our route traffic's going, and it's going across the serial interface. So we're going to start a ping on this PC to the other PC. We want to do a continuous ping. If you're in the lab, you want to do a big ping. So you do -L 1400 to send 1400 bytes. In the simulator, that doesn't work, so we're kind of stuck just pinging. -T makes it do continuously. So we're going to ping, and then we're going to take down the serial interface. You can, if you're in the lab, you can disconnect the cable. I'm just going to go into this lame little GUI thing and turn it off. This does a shutdown, so that's what I'm going to do. So we look at our ping. We're going to lose some pings while the network converges. That's what it's called when a routing protocol figures out the new best route after a failure. So we're going to wait a few minutes to make sure that once we take the link it was using out, it starts using another link. So since we shut the interface down, it should not take very long for that to happen. So I'm going to try to keep talking. Oh, there it's back. Good. I don't like dead air on the podcast, so sometimes I just talk for fun. So now, if we look at our show IP route output and try to figure out where we're going, 22.0 is now, if we look at that, it's now going to 0/1. So that means, hey, now we're going up to this router. So we look at this router and do show IP route and look for our route for that subnet. We look, oh, 22.0, hey, I have two routes. That's weird. So yeah, it is weird, but it's common. Routing protocols, if they have routes that cost the same, it'll put more than one in there. So in this case, in theory, the traffic could go one of two routes based on this metric. This metric is number 2, which says it's 2 hops away to get to that subnet. So we're going to bring down one of these links and hope it still works. And we're going to bring them down in a way I don't want to talk about yet. So basically, we're going to go to both of these routers and shut down the FA00 interface. This is the FA00 interface. It's connected to the switch, even though it says FA01 right there. If we look, oh hey, the router, it's FA00. So we're going to go to the router. We're going to go shut down FA00. And we're going to do it on both sides. And I'll talk about why we're doing that in a little while. Probably not this podcast, but in a little while. So now we'll go look at our ping. It's still running. So hey, we had that other route in there, so it pretty quickly switched over to that other route. So if we look at our routing table now, show IP routes. If we look at our routing table now, hey, we only have the one route across the gig network. So now if we come up here, we're going that way. So what we want to do now is we want to make sure it works if just the gig, just this fast Ethernet link is down, up, sorry. So we're going to bring these two back up and take down the gig interfaces. So we're going to take down the gig interfaces and bring up the other interfaces. And then the ping should stay up. It may take a little while for it to recover since we just brought the other interfaces up. We can look at our show IP route output to see what's going on. So we have a route 21.2, so maybe it should be working now. All right, it's back. So we proved that it works on this link by itself, and we proved it worked on that link by itself. And the first time we had connected, it was taking this link. So now we know all of our links are working as expected. So now we want to bring them all back up to really get ready to start the lab. So we'll go back in and bring the gig interfaces up. On these routers, gig, and again in the lab you can just disconnect the cables. I didn't want to disconnect the cables because it was easier for me to go change the settings in here in the simulator. So now they're all back up, and eventually once everything stabilizes, I should have a route on this guy. I should have a route going to going across the serial link, right? So now we go back to our ping. We're going across the serial link. So what you should notice in the lab, if you're sending big pings, is that it is slowest when it's going across the serial link and faster when it's going across the other links. So we verified everything's working, so now we should be ready for the lab with smooth sailing.